Evening. The regular meeting of the Wayne Westland Community Schools Board of Education is now brought to order on Monday, July 18th, 2016 at 7 o'clock. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to welcome everyone. Your attendance this evening reflects an interest in local education and is greatly appreciated. We're going to start off with 100.17, the Pledge of Allegiance, and I understand that we have a tag team that's formed out here. Mr. Elijah and Dwayne are going to lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both.
Did you bring that special?
No, not today. Thank you. 101.17, roll call, please. Dr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Mr. Buckaloo.
Present.
Mr. Griffin. Present. Mrs. Medell.
I'm here.
Mrs. Madison.
Present.
Mrs. Hines.
Present.
I'm here, and so are you, Madam President.
Yes, I'm present. Let the record show that all are in attendance. Thank you. Moving on to 102.17, presentation. Dr. Hamala.
Yes, and I'm going to turn it right on over to Deputy Superintendent Mr. Larson Scheidler.
Thank you, Dr. Harmala. First of all, you have information in your packet on pages 11 through 13. I'm just going to summarize some of that. But delivering timely transportation for our students to and from school on a daily basis is becoming more of a challenge as we struggle to staff drivers and maintain buses. Most districts and private transportation companies, for that matter, are finding it difficult to retain and hire drivers. Additional challenges that we face as a district is having reliable buses. At our June 27th board meeting, you approved 10 additional new leases for 16-17. With the addition of these leases, we'll be leasing 29 of our 86 bus fleet. Without modifications to our runs and routes, I anticipate additional leases will be needed in 17-18 under the same current operating procedures. To better manage transportation service with staffing and bus constraints that we have, we're reviewing runs and routes. In a recent memo, as I stated in your board packet, there are two modifications that we're looking at, is Main Street stops for grades 7 through 12 and talented, gifted, or tag transportation. First, just wanted to give information on what the district's procedures, guidelines are for transportation. We provide transportation to students residing outside of the non-transportation area from their school of residence. This is 1 mile for grades K through 6 and 1.5 miles for grades 7 through 12. For students eligible for transportation, we establish administrative guidelines within that for maximum distance to walk to their stop in the neighborhood. And for kindergarten, it's 1,500 feet, grades 1 through 6, 1,800 feet, and 2,640 feet, or half a mile, for grades 7 through 12. We currently establish stops throughout neighborhoods at much lower distances to the bus stop. We have been able to maintain stops within neighborhoods to areas where students live, thereby limiting the distance the student has to walk to a stop. This also results in many buses transporting few students. With staffing difficulties and reliability of our buses, again, we're looking at eliminating neighborhood stops for grades 7 through 12 in favor of Main Street or common stops where safe and possible. This will provide more efficient transportation, aligned with our driver staffing and available bus fleet. Main Street stops are common practice in many of our surrounding districts. Implementation in the district will reduce the time required to complete runs, match runs to current staffing levels, and reduce the number of buses required to provide transportation. Main Street common stops may increase the distance a student has to walk to a bus stop, but it will remain under the current walk distance to the bus stops. I have a comparison in for Main Street stops, and what will actually at the high school, John Glenn, we will go from 107 stops down to 70 stops, and we'll be able to eliminate 5 runs. And at Wayne, we'll go from 97 stops to 75 and be able to eliminate 1 run. And now with those, a run is a bus, basically. So we'll be able to, actually based on our staffing at this time, we'd be staffed at 93% of, so we would still need additional staff to provide some of these runs. And that's also at the middle school. This reduces the time for each run, provides more time at the start of the day to schedule the elementary runs in the event of drivers being out sick, and substitute drivers will be available to do what they're intended to do, fill in when a driver is out. Right now we have substitute drivers that have to bounce around runs, and that's really not good for the students because you don't have a driver that you know every day that you're getting on the bus. Any questions on Main Street stops?
I just had a few. I've been taking notes. One thing, 'cause I know, like you say, we're having trouble keeping the staff with the busing. Are they doing exit interviews to find out what the problem is? Like, what is it that's not allowing us to keep the staff for the busing?
Yep, we do do exit interviews when possible. It's really a voluntary type thing. You can't.
Is it
make
more of a
somebody-
pay type situation with the busing?
Some of it's
Transportation, maybe?
it's pay, it's competition. I would say that the new retirement system, because the retirement system switched back in 2012. Now people are on more of a 401k instead of a defined benefit plan. So if you have somebody was in the system, maybe had 8 to 10 years, they're going to want to maintain being in the system. But if you have the newer drivers, they're going to go to a private bus company. They're offering bonuses to start. They're offering higher pay because they don't pay the benefits that we do. So.
To help answer that, some of the research I did, the qualifications for becoming a bus driver, there's not many people out there who are qualified and wanting to go through the process anymore.
It is a long process. It takes at least 8 weeks. You have to come in, you have to be
CDL
trained.
licensure.
Yeah, you're going to be a substitute. You're going to be an aide on a bus. You learn how to drive. And then if you pass the test, you become a driver. And, you start, our starting wage of drivers, I think it was $14.50. But while you're being an aide learning, you're making $8.50. So the incentive is not as great. We actually changed that recently to $11.50. If you hire in to, you have to get your DOT at the Secretary of State, and then you're eligible to go through the training. So we did increase the pay by $3 an hour. So that's the starting aid level pay.
And I had another question too. On average, because you said there's not a lot of kids on the bus, how many students are on a bus, like each bus on average? Like just estimate.
Well, it depends on the run. And, it depends on the time of the year, because at the start of the year, you won't have as many students on the bus. That first cold day, the buses fill up pretty quick. And that's when you really find out how many kids are on the bus. But we do have buses, they'll pass each other, and they won't have capacity. But what we normally do is we route runs based on full capacity or a little bit above capacity, and then as the run goes through the year, the first couple weeks, you try to refine that.
And then last question, because my son, he rides the bus, and with him, because he's going to Stevenson, so I still get a little nervous, with the distance alone, walking to the bus, because what if it's a day where it's not a lot of kids and they're by themselves, they have a lot of stranger danger, where we stay at, so it's a little concerning. But like, are you guys going to have a map so we can visualize? I like to see, like, where the stops are as a parent to make me feel more comfortable, is the distance. Because,
Yeah.
like, he's coming from, 6th grade to 7th. They're still kind of like high school. They're older, but that little in-between age, it just makes you, because a lot of the, things happen to kids like 13, 14, that age.
Right.
So I'm just a little nervous about that. But if I could see like a map of where it's at, because I think it's a fabulous idea. We have these bus issues. You guys come up with marvelous ways to kind of, make sure everything is taken care of so we're not spending so much money. So that's a really good idea to kind of, make them come a little bit further. So there's more kids on the bus so they can get to where they have to go, and it saves us money on transportation. So I think it's a fabulous idea. I just want to see like, a map so I can visualize it.
Okay, I'll go over that a little bit at the end, but, also, I think about the employees because, right now we're 8 drivers short. We've done that throughout the year, so you have to fill routes. So if we have 4 or 5 call-ins and you have a staff of about 120 with aides, drivers, everything, you have 4 or 5 call-ins, then you have to start doubling up runs. It's not fair to staff if they're sick. I mean, they should be allowed to be sick, I guess, and not have to worry about, coming in sick, driving. I'm not sure we want our drivers coming in driving sick, so, this is helping the staff too.
Thank you.
On to talent and gift.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Carol has a
sorry.
question.
I have a question. I know that this has happened in the past to my kids, and I want to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else's kids. We still have a lot of wooded areas in our school district, and sometimes moving the bus stop to main streets means that they will be real close to a wooded area, meaning across the street. And this was a concern of mine when my kids were still in school, because by moving that bus stop to the main street, going through, they were there in a wooded area. And it's dark. And this was when they were in junior high. And that was a concern. We need to be really careful looking at this map when we go to areas like this,
Yeah.
and be aware of these wooded areas. And most of the school year, the kids will be getting on the bus when it's dark.
Sure.
Especially for these age levels. So please,
Well, the key was safe and possible. I mean, we're not going to put a stop where it's not safe for students, something like that. I mean, our drivers, once we have the routes, they go out, they drive, do dry runs, check on the stops, and then do modifications from there. So, there's a vetting process that you don't just set the stop and forget it. They have to be inspected. So.
well, I was assured that the last time, but, when they do check the routes, it's during daylight hours, during work hours, It's
Well, that's
not,
true.
it's not at 7:00 in the morning when they're getting picked up for the high school, or it's not at, 7:30 when they're getting on the bus for the middle schools.
Well, the trouble with
At
the
that point,
dry
it was
runs
junior
now,
high.
we'd have to bring them in about 3 o'clock in
I
the morning
know,
to run.
I know. So, this is why I got on my phone right away and said, we've got an issue here. I don't want my female student standing out on this road with wooded area right across the street. It's not a good, and the way my street goes, it dips down and you can't see the end
Yeah.
of the street unless you're standing in the street.
Yeah.
So-
Well, that's the importance of having people go out and do the dry runs and check it. Also, what we try to do is keep the runs, or the stops set for the first couple weeks to try to figure out, where the best places are, if there are some difficulties, or, possible changes. There's a lot that goes into it. You have to have a certain distance from the stop sign, from the corner. So, it's, when you're putting it on the software, it's one thing, but when you're going out and looking at it in person, it's a different thing. And we understand that. We make changes throughout the year to stops.
I know about 3 years ago, we had a concern with a stop, and when we called, it was easily moved for one of our children, and it actually worked out better for the bus driver going through the route.
The bus drivers are our best source, because they will tell us, what's better, what's safer. So we rely on the drivers for feedback, and parents. So.
And one last question, would it be like main streets like Warren, Newburgh, Wayne, like those busy type
No,
streets, or
no,
just in the
no.
neighborhood, just one street in the neighborhood like this?
No, Main Street would not be like a Wayne,
Okay.
Ford, although we do have a couple stops on Ford, that's where we have a single, like at the pet store, we have a single student that gets on there. You avoid those, Main Street would be more like a Cherry Hill,
Wildwood.
Wildwood, yeah.
Okay.
Emergency routes, more like those.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure of all the emergency routes, but, I mean, a Ford is, I mean, a major street that we don't have students cross.
Okay.
One more question over here, Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes, sir. I would prefer these changes not be necessary. If I had an alternative, I would certainly offer it. But I know that they are necessary, and for a number of reasons. And I also know that should there be some tweaking necessary, that transportation will be making those changes early in the school year. And I trust that we'll come up with something that is easily workable.
You know, we get phone calls all the time about stops. We go out, I'll go out with the director, we'll meet with a parent, we'll watch the bus come through in the morning and then afternoon.
Correct.
I mean, we'll go to, you know, we try to do everything we can to make the stop. the
And
best
that
possible.
willingness is going to allow many of the concerns that parents are going to have initially. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And then on the talented and gifted or TAG transportation for K through 6, as you know, the district operates 2 TAG programs. Program K through 4 at Walker Winter and 5 through 6 at Marshall. Student transportation is provided to these programs from neighborhood bus stops, in the case of Walker, to all students that attend the program. Our current transportation routing is inefficient, transporting in many cases, a couple of students per bus. It's very difficult to maintain with our staffing and fleet constraints. Neighboring districts operate TAG programs. They provide shuttle transportation from a common location. We're currently developing a shuttle routing system for the 16-17 school year based on students' home school or upper elementary. If a student is in their home school non-transport area, they would walk to the school and be shuttled to either Walker Winter or Marshall. Students that live over 1 mile from their home school would be transported to their home school, then shuttled to Walker Winter or Marshall with the non-transport students. This change in tag runs will allow us to eliminate up to 3 runs, and based on our current 15-16 staffing, this would leave elementary staffing 5 regular drivers short. Then communication, this is going on to Trustee Hines' question. Changes in the way we transport students must be communicated effectively and timely to parents. Transportation Services will implement these proposed changes after summer vetting with the administrative cabinet and careful and thorough communication with school administrators and to our parents. Communications include, which we've already had, July 13th with the cabinet, tonight board presentation. We have principals going over to RISA to sit with our router to go over the Main Street stops, to look at areas that we might have to consider closer stops or modify some stops. We're looking at the connections, August connections. We will send out postcards and letters notifying parents of their students' bus stop, the route, and the changes. And then August 22nd, we'll do a board update on where the routes came out.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions or concerns? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 103.17, citizen comments. Dr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is a point in our agenda where we allow anyone in the audience to speak to agenda items only. Would anyone wish to speak?
Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 104.17, consent agenda. At this time, I'll take a motion.
Move approval.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, supported by Mrs. Madison. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please. I'm sorry.
Miss-
Hold on.
I just point of order, not point of information. We're approving the minutes as distributed here tonight with the roll call that were missing initially, correct? Dr. Weaver, the motion? We're
Yes.
approving the one, okay, that's what I want to make sure.
Okay.
There were three that needed to be corrected, thank you.
You're, okay. Everyone's good? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Madison.
Yes.
Mrs. Hines.
Yes.
Mrs. Madell.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
I vote yes, Madam President.
Yes.
Let the record reflect unanimous vote.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 105.17, review and approval, human resource items. Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the Board of Education, we're pleased to present for your consideration Ms. Jenna Mullins for the position of Executive Director of School Improvement in K-4 elementary schools. Ms. Mullins has a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education from Spring Arbor University, a Master of Arts in Educational Leadership from Michigan State University. Most recently, she was a principal at Wildwood Elementary School for the last 3 years, and Jenna's here tonight.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved
Support.
by Mrs. Madison, supported by Mrs. Hines. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Mrs. Hines.
Yes.
Mrs. Madison.
Yes.
Mrs. Madell.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
I vote yes, Madam President.
Yes.
Let the record reflect unanimous vote of approval.
Congratulations. Would you like to say anything?
Please.
And if you have anyone with you, and you can introduce them as well at that time.
I'm solo tonight,
Okay.
but it is an honor to accept my new role within the Wayne Westland Community School District as the Executive Director of School Improvement in K-4 elementary schools. What I've seen from Dr. Harmela's leadership is a razor-sharp focus and a relentless dedication to the continued improvement of our schools, and I'm excited to work alongside her and the other senior administrators in my new capacity within the district.
Once again, congratulations on your new position. Thank you so much. Moving on to item B.
Again, we'd like to present for your consideration for the position of Franklin Middle School Assistant Principal Dina Pringle. Dina has a Bachelor of Arts in English Communications from the University of Detroit Mercy, a Master of Arts in Educational Leadership from Eastern Michigan University, and from 2005 to the present, she's worked for National Heritage Academies, part of that time as a Dean of Students. Dina cannot be with us tonight.
Okay, she's not here. Okay. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by
Support.
Mrs. Madison, supported by Mrs. Hines. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Mrs. Madell.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mrs. Hines.
Yes.
Mrs. Madison.
Yes.
I vote yes, Madam President.
Yes.
Let the record reflect a 100% vote of approval.
Okay, item C, please.
Okay, members of the Board of Education, for your consideration for the principal, or for the position of co-principal at Marshall Upper Elementary School, Mr. Matthew Provost, who has a Bachelor of Arts in History and Business and Information Tech from Michigan State. He has a Master of Arts in Elementary Education from Wayne State, and he has his Ed Specialist in Educational Leadership from Eastern Michigan University. The last 4 years, he's been a teacher in Clawson Public Schools, and he's with us tonight.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by
Support.
Mrs. Madison, supported by Mrs. Hines. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mrs. Madell.
Yes.
I vote yes, Mrs. Hines.
Yes.
Mrs. Madison.
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
let the record reflect unanimous vote of approval.
Congratulations, Mr. Provost. Welcome to the Wayne Westland family. At this time, if you have anything to say or have anyone you want to introduce, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you. I am also flying solo tonight. I want to thank you guys, thank the district for this opportunity, and I'm thrilled to be joining Marshall Upper Elementary. Looking forward to working with Mrs. Kaminsky in the school, and hope for a very productive school year for the teachers and students, and thank you so very much.
Okay, where are we at? D?
Okay, Madam President, members of the Board of Education, for your consideration for the position of Director of Professional Development in the Instruction Department, Ms. Julie Rutherford. Julie has a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from the University of Central Oklahoma. She has a Master of Arts in Education and Reading Specialist from the University of Michigan Dearborn. For the last 3 years, she's been an intervention specialist, actually 4 years, an intervention specialist at Wildwood Elementary School. And Julie is with us tonight.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs.
Support.
Madison, supported by Dr. Weaver. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Mrs. Madison?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mrs. Madell?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
I vote yes, Madam President.
Yes.
Let the record reflect unanimous vote of approval.
Congratulations, Ms. Rutherford. Congratulations on the new position. At this time, if you'd like to say anything, you're more than welcome to.
Well, I brought my husband, Jeff Rutherford.
Yes, you brought somebody.
I'm happy he's here. It's an honor and a privilege to serve as Wayne Wesleyan's new Director of Professional Development. I'm very excited to get started on this important work of building teacher capacity and developing the leadership abilities of our educators. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. And last but not least,
And finally, for your consideration, members of the board, for the position of principal at Taft Elementary School, Mr. Ken Schofield. He has a Bachelor of Science in Family Community Service and Children's Services from Michigan State, a Master of Arts in Early Childhood Elementary Education from Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, and Ed Doctorate in Educational Leadership, again from Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. And for the last 4 years, he's been the principal at Clawson Public Schools Elementary, and he's here.
at this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mrs. Madison, supported by Ms. Hines. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Madell?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Madison?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
I vote yes, Madam President.
Yes.
And let the record reflect unanimous vote of approval.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Schofield, to the Wayne Westland family. We're glad to have you. You may at this time, if you like, have a few words.
Well, and I am on my own tonight as well.
Okay.
I did want to make one correction. My doctorate's actually from Arizona State University in Tempe.
So you want us to do the vote over?
No, I'm good. I don't want to change that. I'm very excited to join Taft and move Taft forward and be a part of the Wayne Westland community. So I thank you very much for this opportunity and look forward to working with the district.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 106.17, the Head Start Monthly Report. Mrs. Madell.
As required by federal law, all of us received a copy of the Head Start Monthly Report for June 2016 in your board packet that you received last Tuesday. And also, they are still in the process of registering students, so if you are aware of anybody who will qualify for their program, send them over to Stottlemyre.
Okay, thank you so much. 107.17, Superintendent Report. Dr. Hamala?
Thank you, President Walker. I have 3 items for you this evening, very brief updates. We hired an array of administrators to fill our vacancies that occurred this year. We still have some additional to go, so not to worry. We're in process for the principalship at John Glenn, Stevenson Middle School, and there's one other. What other one am I? Wildwood, thank you, as the dominoes just changed over there. Thank you very much. So those will be on their way, and we're in process for all of those. Also, on July 13th, the governor asked the Michigan Supreme Court to provide an advisory opinion about the constitutionality of the private school funding provision that was included in this year's state school aid bill. That was, again, $2.5 million that was set aside in the bill to reimburse private schools for state-mandated expenses. So we'll await the Michigan Supreme Court's response to his request. Also, Wayne Riso received a sufficient number of districts in support of an enhancement millage ballot question for November of 2016. So we are beginning to put together the facts that will inform our public, and we will keep you posted along the way. That's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you
very
so much. Moving on to item number 108.17, Citizen Comments. Dr. Weaver?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is a point on our agenda where we allow anyone in the audience that would like to share any comments to please rise at this point.
All right. Seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 109.17, Review and Recommendations Board of Education. Ms. Hines.
I'd like to congratulate everyone on their new positions. I'm so excited just looking at the resumes, different backgrounds, different school districts, some that's in our school district. Congratulations. We're going to have an exciting year. Thank you for the transportation. I mean, you guys are working on a project. We've been talking about it. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. So we're going to have a fabulous year, and congratulations.
Thank you. Ms. Madison. Ms. Madison.
Just welcome everybody to their new positions, and that's about all I can talk anymore. Welcome.
Thank you. I hope you feel better, too. Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things. Congratulations to all of our new hires, and you're going to find that this is a great place to work. It truly is, and you've got great people to work for. On a personal note, a milestone, I've completed 5 years on the board, and tonight I begin my 6th year. And during the last several years, I've made a point of complaining about the lack of adequate funding from the state. Probably have bored some of you with those comments from time to time, but they'll continue. However, I think in the coming year, I want to make a point to celebrate some of the things that we're accomplishing in this district. We have a strategic plan in place, and I know that it's going to produce wonderful rewards for the district. You folks are going to be a part of that, and you're actually very fortunate to be a part of this process as it goes forward. Earlier today, I attended a celebration of the life of a friend and colleague. His family was there, his friends were there. Many of those friends were fellow teachers, and quite a few of the people were former students. Even the minister who presided over the afternoon was a former student of this man. And he had personal anecdotes of actually his first day in class with this man. And I couldn't help but think at the time what a wonderful profession it is that we're a part of, that we get to work with young people, that we have an influence on their lives that last longer than we last. And we're truly blessed to be a part of this process. And I just want to kind of say to all of you here that I'm very, very fortunate to have had the opportunity to work with some of the young people in our community, and I know that you share that same privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo. Mr. Griffin.
I won't reiterate the statements made about the transportation. I know it's because of the circumstances and the hiring and the going on in the world at this time. But I will say that we've asked as a board, the administration, I'm going to keep repeating is, to look at all the things in this school district that we have to look at, including transportation, to make sure that we eliminate anything that is not viable. And I concur with my colleagues here about the safety, and I know that will take place because they do make changes throughout the year. The other thing, I'd like to congratulate those that were appointed tonight. And I think you saw here tonight a Board of Education that is really interested in education, and we support you in your jobs. And that, I think, is important. I just wish, and I concur with my colleague here and the other ones on the board, that we could get the state to give us some more money so we could give everybody in this district more money, but we have to live within our means, and we will, and we have. And so I always say to the people that talk to me, you know, if we can't give you a raise, we're going to make sure you get paid on time, you're going to get your fringe benefits on time, because this board is that kind of a board. And so I welcome you, and I'm looking forward to serving with you and supporting you in your task. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Dr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Congratulations to everyone on your new positions. Welcome to the district. And with that, I'm out.
All right. But you're gonna sit here, right, for a
Yes.
second? Okay. Ms. Madell?
Again, congratulations from me also. Some of you are familiar with our district already. Those of you who are new to us, we work hard, but we work together as a team, and thank you for coming and working with us. I look forward to seeing some of you out in the buildings, because I do come to events, and Jenna I'll see here at the board office, and the same with Ruth. And I also noticed we offer jobs to some Sparties. 2 thumbs up on that one. I got a chance. Don't go there, John. I got a chance to drive all the way to Alpena and visit with our JROTC cadets who went to leadership camp up there. The Army runs a fabulous program that isn't just drilling in the hot sun. The kids also work on STEM projects, which means science, technology, engineering, math, and the arts also, which turns it into STEAM. And also working on aquatic safety, besides their leadership skills. And our kids did extremely well again this year. And I think we will be seeing them a little bit later, coming to a board meeting for recognition, because we also had some of our cadets going to Washington, D.C. and being part of that, and scored very well nationwide. So both of our programs need to be commended for the quality that they produce and draw out of our students, not only statewide, but nationwide. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, congratulations. Mr. Schofield, Mr. Provost, I mentioned that we're a family here at Wayne Westland, and I hope that you enjoy your time here. And if you just remember that we all look at each other in the district, kids, families, everyone as a family, and you treat each other as if, and treat our families as if there's someone in your family anytime you make a decision. I mean, you do your job, but just keep in mind that we operate and love our community as a family, and I think you'll do a wonderful job, and I think you'll fit in just well, and we love to have you here. You're bringing a wealth of experience, and we're looking forward to what you have to offer here at Wayne Westland, and you won't regret the decision that you have made to come and join our Wayne Westland family. And as always, I thank each and every one of you for coming out and taking time out your evening to come and spend with us. Please continue to be safe and enjoy your summer. I also just want to say thank you. My family has gone through some little ups and downs, and we had a lot of the community to reach out and send us well wishes and cards, and we just want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for reaching out. You won't know, we can never express how much it meant to us during our times that we were having, that the love that you all showed us, and we just thank you. And once again, that just shows the type of family that we have here, that we all look out and take care of each other. So with that being said, at this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.